Look at this vendor. There is a massive gap between the quiet act of reading a printed text in a classroom and the raw, vocal energy required to hold a busy crowd's attention while selling baskets of red peppers. We see that same energy at traditional ceremonies, where speakers command an audience's focus for hours without ever looking down at notes. This is oral literature. It's a living art form of spoken expression that relies on vocal rhythm, tone, and physical performance rather than written words. The ability to captivate a crowd and convince them of your point of view is built on structured, learnable techniques refined over centuries of history. To master these techniques, we first have to understand the logic of the stories themselves. Traditional oral narratives are categorized into one of three distinct frameworks based on their characters and their purpose. The first is the myth. These stories feature gods or the very first humans, like Kintu and Nambi, and are told to explain the creation of the world or natural phenomena. Next is the legend. Here, the characters are historical heroes and kings, such as the Bakchwezi. These stories record perceived history and acts of heroism. Finally, the folktale uses animal characters, like the hare and the leopard, to entertain an audience while teaching a specific moral lesson. Correctly identifying which bucket a story falls into allows you to understand its intended impact. You have to know the nature of the narrative before you can choose how to deliver it. Take a look at this outdoor fire. In this traditional setting, a storyteller doesn't have italics or punctuation to convey emotion. They rely entirely on their physical body. We can think of a speaker operating an internal delivery dashboard to control the listener's attention. The first tool is intonation. By choosing when to raise and lower your voice's volume and pitch, you dictate the emotional energy of the narrative. Next is the dramatic pause. By stopping before a major revelation, the speaker forces the audience to wait, building suspense through silence. Finally, hand gestures and facial expressions serve as a visual anchor, grounding abstract concepts into movements the audience sees. Combining these three variables, intonation, pausing, and physical gestures, transforms a speaker from someone reciting facts into a compelling performer. These storytelling frameworks translate directly into the logic of modern persuasion. Just as you categorize a story to understand its purpose, a debater must categorize a claim to choose the right evidence. We build an argument that leads an audience to a specific conclusion, following a formula. Pair a logical point with a persuasive phrase, delivered with steady eye contact. Phrases like, "You must realize that," establish authority and certainty before you state evidence. Look at this origin story about gods carving out this lake. Based on our frameworks, what is this story type? What physical gesture and persuasive phrase would defend your answer? Pause the video now, review the formula, and write your answers. Because this story explains a natural origin through supernatural beings, it is a myth. To argue this point, establish steady eye contact and say, "It is obvious this is a myth, as it explains the landscape's creation." This process of categorization is the same logic used in formal argumentation. You must know the species of your argument before applying the mechanics of delivery. In a formal debate, if you cite historical precedent, you are using the weight of a legend. If you argue a moral principle, you are using the structure of a folktale. Let's see this in action as an opposer arguing against banning cell phones in class. Establish authority through non-verbal presence. A straight spine and squared shoulders signal confidence. Next, apply formal language by looking directly at the chairperson, stating, "You must realize that." Then anchor that phrase to logical evidence. Phones provide instant research tools that enhance learning. The architecture is consistent across all forms of oral literature. You identify the narrative form, apply vocal and physical tools to hold the room, and lock them all into a foundation of logical evidence. Mastering these skills preserves Ugandan heritage, while providing the professional advantage of ensuring that whenever you speak, the world listens.